Very good evening, my dear students. Today I'm going to start with the next part of the chapter Movement and Locomotion. And we have already completed the muscle part. Today we are supposed to start from bones. So normally we know, if we recapitulate the topic called locomotion and movement, if you understand, this main locomotion, which is nothing but the changing the position that the organism does mainly for either to escape from the predator or to have food. They need to move from one position to the one portion of the from one location to the other, and that is what is called locomotion. For that, these two important organs are associated with. One is bones and the one is muscles. So it's very, very important we understand these two topics of what in the last very class what we have already covered is about muscles. Today I'm going to just give a recap of sliding filament mechanism, and then I'm going to start with the bones. Okay, so let us start with the topic. Yes, the topic is about the sliding filament mechanism. Sliding filament mechanism. This piece of information you already have, you are having in the very last class. See, think about it. This is muscle contraction. So when we talk about muscle contraction, ये क्या है? This is sarcomere. What we have made it sarcomere. So this is the muscle fiber. This is the muscle fiber, and inside the muscle fiber, what you can see some myofilaments like in the form of actin. This is actin. This is actin. So these two are the thin filament. These two are the thin filament, and the portion where the thin filament is present, this particular portion where the thin filament is present, we call it I band. I stands from isotropic. So isotropic band. And the place where the thick filament is present, that is myosin filament is present, if you see, this particular part is called as A band. A stands for anisotropic band. So this portion again is actin. So actin is I band. So in between these two, in between this actin, you can see a particular line which is called Z line. And again over here, this is Z line. So between the two Z line, half of I band is present, full of A band is present, and half of I band is present. From this, the gap into Z line is called sarcomere. Sarcomere is called as a unit of muscle contraction. That's what we have discussed in the very last class. Now, if you remember, the structure of actin filament is made up of G-actin. There's a monomer, G-actin, globular protein. And many of this G-actin makes one F-actin. So how many such F-actin makes one actin filament? Two of the F-actin makes one particular actin. Now, so over here, this particular actin filament, what happens with this? From the myosin head, from the myosin, this is the head which joins over here with the actin filament and pulls these two close together. The gap between these two actin filament is called H zone. It's called H zone. And what happens during contraction? The gap of this H zone diminishes. The gap of the H zone decreases. So the gap between two Z line decreases. The H zone decreases. So that's what happens during contraction, muscle contraction. So sarcomere length normally is 2.5 micrometer. So sarcomere length is normally 2.5 micrometer, which makes half of I band plus A band plus half of I band. Clear? So I band is what? I band, that is isotropic band, it is 1 micrometer, and A band is 1.5 micrometer. Together it makes what? 2.5 micrometer. Together it makes 2.5 micrometer. That means sarcomere length jo hai, this is sarcomere. The gap between two Z line is called sarcomere, and within this sarcomere, this is half of I band, this is half of I band, and full of A band, and full of A band, and full of A band. So from here, it is half of I band, and this is full of A band. So this together makes what? This together makes sarcomere length. This together makes sarcomere length, and the length of the sarcomere becomes 2.5 micron, 2.5 micrometer, 2.5 micrometer. So half of I band plus full of A band plus half of I band makes 2.5 micrometer. That is the length of the sarcomere. That is the length of the sarcomere. Now, this is very, very important concept. Now, very, very important, mind you, it's already this question came in NEET. This question came in NEET. Think about it. This is one myosin. One myosin is covered by 6 such actin filament. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one myosin filament is surrounded by 6 actin filament, which is very, very important. Just take it out once. Yes? So one myosin filament is surrounded by 6 actin filament, which is very, very important. Done? Now, when we talk about one actin filament is surrounded by 3 myosin filament. One actin filament is surrounded by 3 myosin filament. This is very, very important concept. This is very, very important concept. That means one myosin is surrounded by 6 of the actin, but one actin is surrounded by 3 of the myosin head. 3 of the myosin. Now, mechanism of muscle contraction. In this mechanism, under sliding filament mechanism, which was proposed by A.F. Huxley and H.E. Huxley in the year 1954. So last day we discussed about that the sliding filament mechanism, ये किसने दिया था? A.F. Huxley and H.E. Huxley in the year 1954. And it's also called as, this particular sliding filament mechanism is also called as Rachet power stroke. Rachet power stroke mechanism. Last day we talked about Rachet power stroke, which needs ATP. For that stroke, it needs ATP. That means if this is myosin head, this myosin is having a myosin head, and this myosin head, it binds with actin. And the gap into actin filament is called H zone. ये इसके साथ bind करता है by the help of this actin binding site. And it needs ATP. So that is why they have got ATP binding site. It needs ATP so that it is going to pull these two close together, making the H zone diminish. Or it reduces the H zone gap. This is what is the myosin head. So this is the myosin head. This is the myosin head, which says, if this is the myosin, think about it, this is the myosin. Last day we talked about how many such myosin makes one, how many such small units of myosin, meromyosin, makes one particular myosin? 300 units. 300 units. Fine. So 300 units, that means it makes it thicker. So M myosin filament is thicker. It's having 2 sides. One is actin binding site and one is ATP binding site. ये क्या है? ऊपर actin है. So it binds with the actin. So the moment it binds with it, it makes what? It makes cross bridge. It makes what? Cross bridge. क्या बनाता है ये? Cross bridge. It makes a cross bridge. So see, this myosin head binds over here with the actin. This myosin head binds with the actin and pulls these two together, close together. So H zone reduces. So Z line reduces. दो Z line के बीच में gap वो भी घट जाएगा, H zone भी घट जाएगा. But remember, last day we talked about between that H zone there is a line. What is that imaginary line? M line. What's the other term for that? Dobbe's line. Other term for that is Dobbe's line. So what is going to happen to the Dobbe's line? It will remain same. Very good. So that is it. So this is about the basic structure. So ये ऐसे होता है काम. A band remains same. See, A band remains same. है ना? यहाँ पे A band कौन है? What is A band? The myosin head. So myosin head is going to remain the same. Myosin head में कोई changes नहीं आएगा. Myosin head में कोई side में change नहीं आएगा. And what is the size of myosin? 1.5 micrometer. 1.5 micrometer. What is the size of this actin filament? Completely. Total together is called 1 micrometer. So what is the gap between two Z line? 2.5 micrometer. The gap between two Z line is 2.5 micrometer. Any issue with this? Great. Come on to the chemical events during muscle contraction. What are the chemical events? It was given by Albert Zent Georgi in the year 1942. Albert Zent Georgi in the year 1942. So lastly we talked about this is neuron. These are motor end plate or neuromuscular junction. It's going to secrete acetylcholine, motor end plate or neuromuscular junction. And what is going to happen? The moment it releases acetylcholine, From that sarcoplasmic reticulum, calcium ion gets released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Calcium ion gets released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum because we know that the sarcoplasmic reticulum is the main storage house of calcium. It's a main storage house of calcium. So actin plus myosin, it is going to make what? Calcium ion in place of calcium ion and ATP. It is going to make what? Actomyosin complex. What is actomyosin complex? This is myosin. ये myosin है और ये actin है. This is actin. So it's going to just have a connection between actin and myosin. This actomyosin complex can only be achieved in presence of calcium ion and by the help of ATP. Now, ATP plus water. This ATP, in presence of water, an enzyme, myosin ATPase, in presence of calcium ion, gets broken down into ADP plus IP plus energy gets released. This energy is required for pulling the actin filament. Any issues with this? Clear? Now, this energy is used for contraction of muscle fiber. This energy is used for contraction of muscle fiber. Now, ADP plus CP. What is going to happen to this ADP? The ADP which has been formed, it binds with the creatine phosphate to give rise to what? ADP. So ADP is going to get one phosphate from here and is going to make ADP, and this is going to remain like that. Creatine. What is this? Creatine. So what is this? Creatine phosphate. So by the help of Cori cycle, which takes place in liver and muscles, what is going to happen in liver and muscles? Muscle glycogen is going to change into muscle lactic acid. Muscle lactic acid will change into blood lactic acid. Blood lactic acid will change into liver lactic acid. And what is going to happen inside the liver? 1/5 of this liver lactic acid is going to be changed into carbon dioxide and water. And 4/5 of the liver lactic acid is used up to make glycogen back. And this glycogen is again going to get broken down into blood glucose, and this from blood glucose is going to come down to muscle glycogen. This is what is called Cori cycle. So it is only by the help of Cori cycle we are going to again get back what? CP. Fine? Is this clear? So that is the topic that we have completed in the last very class. So this is how the muscle contraction occurs. So we have completed sliding filament mechanism in the last very class. I've just recapitulated it. Today I'm going to start with the bones. So हम क्या start करेंगे? Bones. And bones we are going to study under the topic called skeletal system. Okay? Now, let us start with the topic called bones. Bones को start करने के पहले थोड़ा सा आपको ये कुछ figure दिखाने हैं. Let me show you some of the figure of the bones. So this is how the bones looks like. Fine. This is just a figure. This is not the actual figure. See, what is present? Normally we know that there are two particular structures in our body which can provide us with skeleton, which can provide us with skeletal structure. Number one is bone, which provides us with a framework, and the one is cartilage. The cartilage is present where? In your or inside your ear. Ear provides you the shape, and this cartilage provides you with the shape. That means it is also a skeletal part. It gives you some framework of the body. Along with bones. So bones, think about it. Without bones, the body would have been just like a here. This is the cartilage in nose. What is being shown over here? See, this is humerus. This bone is humerus, and at the tip of humerus you can see an articular cartilage of a joint. Over here also you can see another one. So let me give it in red. These are ribs. Ribs connected here with this particular part of the bone. Tell me, what is the bone called? This is sternum. What is this bone called? Sternum. So ribs are connected with the sternum, but by the help of what? Cartilage. So you can see some cartilage over here. And what kind of cartilage is this? Anybody in this class can tell me? 7 pairs are true ribs, 3 pairs are false ribs, 2 of them are floating ribs. We know that. What kind of cartilage? Costal cartilage. It is made up of what? Hyaline cartilage. It is made up of hyaline cartilage. Now you can see inside the vertebral disc, inside the vertebral column, inside the vertebral column, inside the vertebral you can see what? You can see cartilage. You can see Cartilage. So cartilage is present inside intervertebral disc. Intervertebral disc. दो disc के बीच में you can see some cartilage present. Okay. Okay. So this is the structure. This is vertebral column, and it is attached with what? This is what? This part is what? This part is sacral. This is sacral bone. See, this is sacral bone. Fine. And then coccyx is there. This is coccyx. Okay. What is this bone? This is the pelvic bone. Pelvic bone. This is the pelvic bone. Fine. This is a long bone called femur. Femur. And the head of the femur, they also contain what? What is being shown? Cartilage. What is being shown? Cartilage. What kind of joint is this? I think you know that. Ball and socket joint. जानते हो ना? जानते हो आप? And what is this point? What is this point? Pubic symphysis. Though two of the pelvic joint are attached with pubic symphysis. Pubic symphysis किस तरह का joint है? What kind of joint is this? Use your good general knowledge. Fixed or slightly movable or freely movable. ऐसा होता है कि पैर खुल जाता है पूरा? नहीं. Yes, या fixed है क्या यहाँ पे? No. अगर fixed होता तो आपको hop करना पड़ता. So when you start walking, तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है? What happens over here? There is a slightly movable joint. So this is an example of slightly movable joint, otherwise called as cartilaginous joint. क्या कहते हैं इसको? We are going to study under that. Okay? थोड़ा सा समझ लिया यहाँ पे. अब यहाँ पे देखो, यहाँ पे भी cartilage है, यहाँ पे भी cartilage है. What are these structures called? What are these bones called? Carpals. What are these called? Carpals. How many carpal bones are there? 8 bones are there. And with every carpal, you can see. With every carpal, you can see what is present. Cartilage is present. What is present? Cartilage is present. Is this clear? I think you know about this. What is this? This is patella, knee joint. में क्या है यहाँ पे? Patella. And very, very important. Let me tell you about this. This patella, ये जो यहाँ पे patella है, this patella, ये patella कहते हैं knee bone, है ना? Patella. पर असल में ये क्या था? It was tendon initially. जब आप छोटे थे, it was tendon. And then the moment you have started walking, जब खड़े हो गए अपने पैर पे, तब वो पैटेला फंक्शनल हुआ. टेंडन से वो ऑसिफाइड हो गया. दिस टेंडन started showing calcification, which is other term for ossification. And this tendon changed into tendon replaced by bone. Tendon replaced by bone. Anybody in this class can tell me what kind of bone is this? Sesamoid bone. So when a tendon changes into a bone, we call that bone as sesamoid bone. क्या कहते हैं इसको? Sesamoid bone. We call this as sesamoid bone. So patella is very, very important. Clear? কি বলি বাংলা কি বলি? মালাই চাকি. কিসের আছে মালাই মধ্যে দেখি না. What is the malai over there? Whatever. Yes, it was soft when you could not walk. Huh? When your age was 1 year, 8 months, 9 months, think about those time. মনে তো নেই, তুই দেখিস সেরকম বাচ্চা যখন হাঁটতে পারলি তখন থেকে এটা কি হয়ে গেল? This patella becomes ossified to become bones. Even over here, between two, so this is femur, these are tibia fibula. This is femur, this is tibia fibula. Over here, you can see still a cartilage is present. And what happens during osteoarthritis? What happens during osteoarthritis? This cartilage erodes off. A cartilage নষ্ট হয়ে যায়. This cartilage erodes off. And once it gets eroded, it is never going to come back. Why? Tell me. Anybody in this class can tell me. Cartilage, once it sheds off, it can never regain its position back. Reason? Cartilage, what is the major difference between cartilage and bone? Anybody? Major difference. There are many of the difference, but major difference. Now don't tell me, sir, study of cartilage is chondrology and study of bone. So जानती की what is the study of cartilage called? Study of cartilage is called chondrology. The study of cartilage. Chondrology. Fine. They have got a protein called chondrine. So cartilage contains a protein called chondrine. And what is the study of bone called? It is osteology. Osteo means what? Bone. Now what is the difference between bone and cartilage? Inside cartilage, you are hardly going to get to see any blood vessels. So there is no blood vessels inside cartilage. Clear? So during osteoarthritis, what happens? There is a fluid present over here. I think you know the fluid present. Tell me the fluid. Synovial fluid. And what is the joint where it shows freely movable? Freely movable joint, other term for freely movable joint is synovial joints. Because what is the fluid present over here? The fluid is called synovial fluid. Synovial. The fluid is called as synovial fluid. So what is the joint called? Synovial joint. Freely movable joint is called synovial joint. Okay. Now, come not over here. What is present? The place where tibia fibula gets completed. What is present over here? There are 7 bones called as tarsals. There are 7 bones called as tarsals, and even these 7 bones, they have got cartilage in between them. And cartilage किस तरह से help करते हैं? It increases the friction or it decreases the friction? It decreases the friction. Fine. जब हम बूढ़े बन जाएंगे तो क्या होगा? आवाज आएगा ना चलते वक्त. आवाज कैसे आएगा? 2 of the bones, they are innervating among themselves. They are gliding among themselves, but बीच में कौन नहीं है? There is no cartilage, so it's going to be a painful event. It's going to be a painful event. And what happens when it happens? Osteoarthritis. क्या कहते हैं उसको? Osteoarthritis. It's a bone disorder. We're going to talk about that also. यहाँ तक clear है? यहाँ तक clear है? And what are these? We're going to talk about this. You know, these are metatarsals and tarsals are there. Metatarsals and phalanges are there. Okay, so that was about the basic structure. So आपको figure दिखाया गया, इसको थोड़ा छोटा कर देते तो जैसा दिखेगा. Fine. So this is what is the figure. Now, let me show you. This is a bone. This is a bone. Now, in this bone, you can see. You know, I think all of you like mutton very much. Yes. सब मांसाहारी है. देखो इधर ये bone है, and you can see if you cut a section of the bone. ये section आप देख रहे हो. Can you see some pores? Have you seen some pores? And these pores are nothing but the spongy bone. So if we cut the section of the bone के section को काट के देखेंगे, if we cut the channel section of the bone, this part is what? Rigid part, and this is spongy part. So ये part क्या है? ये part को क्या कहेंगे? So there are 2 parts. This is called compact bone. क्या कहते हैं इसको? Compact bone. Compact. And this part is spongy. Middle में क्या है? Spongy bone. And you can see why they are spongy. There are some gaps. You can see some gaps. Okay. Now, there are 2 points. One is epiphysis line. ये आपको अभी नहीं चाहिए. Okay, done. चलो, compact bone के एकदम बाहर. What is the membrane called? Periosteum. What is the membrane called? Periosteum. Now, Varun, tell me. Periosteum. Peri means peripheral. Peripheral part of the osteum. Osteum मतलब study of bone is called osteology. So periosteum मतलब the outermost part of the bone. Tell me, it is made up of? It is made up of some. It is made up of some. No, it is made up of some connective tissue. What kind of connective tissue? We have studied that under structural organizations in animals. Under structural organizations, we have studied about tissues, especially connective tissue. What kind of connective tissue is this? Is it regular or irregular? Irregular fibrous or irregular elastic? Irregular fibrous. Very good. Irregular fibrous means they have got collagen. They have got collagen. So this is the periosteum. See, this is the compact bone. देखो यहाँ पे, यहाँ से यहाँ तक compact, यहाँ से यहाँ तक compact. बीच में क्या है? What is there in between? Spongy. What is written? Spongy. Got the point? अब देखो इसको यहाँ से काटा गया. यहाँ से काटने के बाद अंदर देख रहे हो आप. What you are watching? The spongy type, spongy bone. समझ में आया? And inside spongy bone, ये है compact bone. अब इसको काटो. Just see a section. यहाँ से यहाँ तक काट लिया आपने. And you are seeing a magnified view of it. यहाँ से यहाँ तक आपने काट लिया compact bone. Inside compact bone, can you see some concentric circles? ऐसे तो गोल-गोल structure देख रहे हो आप? Concentric circles. और यहाँ पे देखो gap है. From this compact bone, the blood vessels innervates deep inside the spongy bone. देखो यहाँ से अंदर ही अंदर से blood vessel जा रहा है. Are you getting me? Inside the spongy bone. So compact bone में वो जो middle वाला है ना central canal. देखो यहाँ पे central canal है. This is a central canal. इसको और भी हम बड़े करके देखेंगे. We want to study that. So देखो यहाँ पे ये तो central canal है. Central canal. Ayushi, tell me, the central canal is present inside the spongy bone or within the compact bone? Compact. So within the compact bone, there are some concentric circles present, and we call that concentric circles as Haversian canal. क्या कहते हैं उसको? Haversian canal. Many of such Haversian canal together makes what? Many of the Haversian canal makes Haversian system. क्या कहते हैं? Haversian system. So Haversian system is a mammalian feature. Haversian system is a mammalian feature. Only in mammalian bone you can see Haversian canal or Haversian system. Two of the Haversian canal, ये एक Haversian canal है, ये एक Haversian canal है. Two of the Haversian canal gets interconnected by another canal called Volkmann's canal. Volkmann's canal. Volkmann's canal. Clear? Now, so देखो बाहर से blood vessel आया, अंदर घुसा, देखो ये रहा, पेरिओस्टियम से अंदर घुसा, and then through the central canal it is going to reach where? Inside the spongy bone. तो एंट्री कहां से होता है? अंदर से बाहर या बाहर से अंदर? हड्डी के अंदर, बाहर से अंदर, अंदर से बाहर? बाहर से अंदर सर. घुसता कहां से है वो ब्लड वेसल? पेरिओस्टियम से. And then enters where? In the compact bone. Which part? Central canal of the Haversian system. From central canal, from that central canal, ये देखो ब्लड वेसल आ गया सेंट्रल कैनाल से, और उसके बाद स्पॉन्जी बोन के अंदर घुस गया. बोलो समझ में आया क्या नहीं है? Any issues with this? Clear? Now, ये देखो compact और spongy. Skull, ये skull bone है. In skull bone we are going to study there are 8 bones in the skull. There are 8 bones in the skull. ये वाला पहला bone क्या है? Frontal bone. This is what? This is parietal. ये क्या है? Temporal. ये क्या है? Occipital. Clear? So एक थोड़ा सा bone को बड़ा करके दिखा रहे हैं आपको. तो ये compact bone है. This portion is compact bone, and inside there are spongy. The other term of spongy is called diploid. Clear? अब देखो यहां पे, ये क्या दिखा रहा है? What it is showing you? Inside, एकदम बीच में सेंट्रल कैनाल के सोचो. सेंट्रल कैनाल से क्या आता है? What comes from the central canal? Artery, veins and nerves. I told you many a times. Human physiology में या कोई भी anatomics में blood vessels का और एक दोस्त है, and both of them remains together. What is the best friend of blood vessel? Nerves. जहां पे blood vessel है वहां पे nerve रहेगा. ठीक है? जहां पे blood vessel रहेगा वहां पे nerve रहेगा. So see, this is blood vessel, this is vein, this is red one called artery, and what you can find out is the nerve. Fine? Now, ये क्या है? The बाहर का structure है. It's made up of what? Collagen. Just now I talked about that. So ये collagen से बने हुए हैं because periosteum बाहर का region. So collagen is present over here. Fine? Collagen is present over here. Now, और so क्या कहते हैं? What these structures are called? These goal structure. ये जो goal structure है, concentric circles. ठीक है? ये छोटा वाला, ये वाला. This is the one. This one, middle one is this one, and this bigger one is this bigger one. Come on, this bigger one. But these lamellae, ये इसको क्या कहते हैं? Lamellae कहते हैं. क्या कहते हैं इसको? These are called lamellae. देखो इधर. See. देखो lamellae. Can you see the lamellae over here? ये देखो, ये बाहर निकाल के दिखाया गया है. एक lamellae को बाहर निकाल के दिखाया गया है. One particular lamellae is being shown over here. In the middle there is a central canal having blood vessels. ये देखो blood vessels radiate कर रहा है अंदर से. Clear? And these are lamellae. हर एक टुकड़े को आप निकाल सकते हो. And बीच में क्या मिलेगा? Artery, veins. Clear? Now, see, once this portion you have cut it out, and उसके अंदर देखो क्या है? Lamellae के अंदर, can you see some cells? ये देखो एक सेल है. क्या लग रहा है? Nerve cell है क्या? This is nerve cell? No, these are osteocyte cells. Osteocyte. I wish you tell me, what is the meaning of cyte? Cyton. No, cyte has come from the term cytology. The study of cell is called cytology. The moment you get any term related by cyte, मतलब वो सेल का बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. Osteo मतलब क्या है? Bone cells are called osteocyte cells. So osteocyte cells present where? Inside the lamellae. देखो ये lamellae है, और इसके बीच में है, बीच में बैठे हुए हैं ये. Clear? Great. And जिस gap में वो रहते हैं, the gap is called lacuna. क्या कहते हैं? The gap is called lacuna. Inside the compact bone. देखो ये compact bone है ना? Inside the compact bone, there is some gap, and this gap are called lacuna. Inside the lacuna, there is present osteocyte cells. तीन तरह के cells के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं आपसे. Let's talk about three different types of cells. One is called osteocyte, which are bone cells. One is called osteoblast. Osteoblast cells. Blast cells provides nourishment to the bone cells. It provides nourishment to the bone cells. Another one is called osteoclast. Osteoclast cells. Now, what is the meaning of osteoclast? Class मतलब क्या है? Class मतलब those cells which cleans the dead cells. When the normal bone cells dies, what happens? These osteoclast cells, they cleanse the cells. Any issues? समझ में आया कि नहीं आया? Got the point? Great. चलो. Now, yes. देखो normally क्या किस तरह से बोन बनते हैं? How bone forms? An ossification center appears in the fibrous connective tissue membrane. So there is a fibrous membrane. क्या नाम है? Fibrous connective tissue है. Now एक टिश्यू है, उसके अंदर suddenly osteoblast cells. Can you see these osteoblast cells? अभी आपसे मैं बोला आपको. Just now we have talked about osteoblast cells. These osteoblasts which provides nourishment. Fine. These are some cells called osteoid cells. Ossification center. This part is the ossification center. These are collagen fibers present over here, and these are mesenchymal cells. These are mesenchymal cells. Just hold it. Yes. Okay. What is written over here? An ossification center appears in the fibrous connective tissue. Selected centrally located mesenchymal cells cluster and differentiated into osteoblast, forming an ossification center. So यहाँ पे ossification चल रहा है. What is ossification? Bony cells formation. First stage है. And what is going to happen next? See. देखो, can you see some cells? Osteocyte cells को guard कौन कर रहे हैं? What is present peripheral part of the osteocyte cells? बीच में osteocyte cells है. And they are guarded by osteoblast cells. So osteoblast cells will provide nourishment to the osteocyte cells. And this is newly calcified bone matrix. Newly calcified. What is the meaning of calcified? Calcium deposition. Very good. Newly calcified bone matrix. तो पहले calcification नहीं था. The first stage there was no calcification. देखो यहाँ पे calcification नहीं हुआ. ठीक है? अब ये calcified हो गया. So bone matrix osteoid is secreted within the fibrous membrane. Osteoblasts begin to secrete osteoid. Osteoblast cells से क्या release होगा? Osteoid. Just now we have seen osteoid. ये रहा. Which is mineralized within a few days. उसमें mineralization आएगा. Mineral आएंगे. And mineralized within a few days. Trapped osteoblasts become osteocytes. And these trapped osteoblasts, and they will become what? Osteocyte cells. Clear? Done? Now, woven bone and periosteum form. Ultimately क्या बनेगा? Periosteum बन जाएगा. बाहर क्या बनेगा? What is going to happen is outside. Periosteum is going to occur. Periosteum. So बीच में क्या रहेगा? There will be some gap. And those gap is called diploid. Diploid means spongy bone. I should tell me, what are these? Osteoblast cells. Very good. What is going to continuously make? Osteoid. Osteoid is going to help in what? It's going to trap minerals to make it what? More ossified. बोलो समझ में आया कि नहीं आ रहा है ना? आपका हड्डी का ऑपरेशन हो गया, बोन फ्रैक्चर हो गया, फिर से बनेगा बोन? बोलो नहीं बनेगा? हाँ? क्या हो गया? ये हाल है आपके रिजल्ट के बाद. ये हाल है आपका. हाँ? पापा ज्यादा प्यार कर दिए आपको. हाँ, उसका रिजल्ट ये था. अब बोलो यहां पे क्या होगा? कुछ दिन बाद क्या होगा? What is going to happen? Again the bone is going to form in. अब डॉक्टर बन गए, ऑपरेशन किया, हड्डी का ऑपरेशन किया, यू हैव डन वन सर्जरी, बोन में सर्जरी हुआ, बोन फिर से बनेगा नहीं बनेगा? कैसे बनेगा? दिस इज हाउ इट इज गोइंग टू फॉर्म इन ossified osteoblast cells. They're going to secrete osteoid. Osteoid is going to help in trapping the minerals, and they're going to start ossification. They're going to start ossification. Clear हो? यहाँ तक clear है? चलो, बोन जब बनता है कहां से बनता है? बोन जब बनता है, when the bone grows, तो ग्रो कहां से करते हैं? ये बोन ग्रो हो गया, बोन ग्रो करते हैं साइड में, दोनों एंड में, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड डायाफाइसिस. क्या कहते हैं इसको? डायाफाइसिस. देखो ये जब आप छोटे थे, देखो ये प्राइमरी ऑसिफिकेशन सेंटर बीच में था यहां पे, और आस्ते आस्ते क्या हुआ? ये हाइलिन कार्टिलेज था पहले, इट वाज कंप्लीटली कार्टिलेज. जब आपका उम्र था 1 ईयर, क्या था? बोन था या कार्टिलेज था? वेरी गुड, कार्टिलेज. उसमें क्या बना? ऑसिफिकेशन बना. कभी सर पकड़ा किसी बच्चे का? कैसा लगता है? प्रेस करोगे तो लगेगा कि उंगली अंदर चला जाएगा. फाइन. सो वो ऑसिफिकेशन बन जाता है, इट बिकम्स ossified. It becomes ossified. So this is what is the cartilage, and then deuterating cartilage matrix, blood vessels of periosteal bud. अब यहां से periosteum से blood vessel अंदर गया, so spongy bone formation. देखो अंदर spongy bone form हुआ, ये cartilage था, and then और भी थोड़ा ज्यादा information गया, bone और भी ज्यादा अंदर गया, and what is going to form in? This cartilage is slowly changing into what? Into bone. It's slowly changing into bone. और ये देखो सेकेंडरी ऑसिफिकेशन सेंटर, ये प्राइमरी ऑसिफिकेशन सेंटर कहां पे था? इन द मिडिल, कार्टिलेज के मिडिल में था. सी थिंक अबाउट इट, दिस इज द कार्टिलेज, दिस वाज द कार्टिलेज, और यहां पे प्राइमरी ऑसिफिकेशन सेंटर था पहले, एंड नाउ वेयर इट हैज फॉर्म इन? सेकेंडरी. सो सेकेंडरी ऑसिफिकेशन सेंटर में फिर से ब्लड वेसल गया, सो दिस बिकम्स द सेकेंडरी वन, दिस बिकम्स द सेकेंडरी वन, और ये था प्राइमरी वन. And now it is going to grow in this direction and this direction. This is how the bone gets formed. The upper layer, the outer layer of the bone is called epiphysis layer. क्या कहते हैं? Epiphysis layer. और जिस तरह से वो दोनों तरफ grow करते हैं, that is called diaphysis. क्या कहते हैं? Diaphysis. थोड़ा ये information मैं आपको देना चाहता हूँ, because this is the information you'll be getting in the topic called chemical coordination. In chemical coordination, endocrine system में, how bone forms, how bone cells forms. देखो कुछ ग्लैंड है, कुछ ग्लैंड का नाम आप जानते हो. एक ग्लैंड है थायराइड ग्लैंड. क्या नाम है? थायराइड ग्लैंड. यू नो, थायराइड ग्लैंड के पीछे ऐसे 4 पैराथायराइड ग्लैंड्स हैं. देखो ये इसका ऑपोजिट पोर्शन है, इसका ऑपोजिट पोर्शन है, एंड व्हाट यू कैन गेट, देयर आर 4 पैराथायराइड ग्लैंड्स. फ्रॉम पैराथायराइड ग्लैंड्स इट रिलीजेस अ हार्मोन कॉल्ड PTH. व्हाट इज दैट? पैराथायराइड हार्मोन. पैराथायराइड हार्मोन. एंड पैराथायराइड PTH ये क्या करते हैं? ऑस्टियोक्लास्ट डिग्रेड बोन मैट्रिक्स एंड रिलीज कैल्शियम इनटू ब्लड. PTH helps in. देखो PTH क्या करते हैं? ऑस्टियोक्लास्ट डिग्रेड बोन मैट्रिक्स एंड रिलीज कैल्शियम इनटू द ब्लड. ऑस्टियोक्लास्ट सेल्स क्या करते हैं? ब्लड में कैल्शियम छोड़ते हैं. सो यू हैव गॉट ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ ब्लड, ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ कैल्शियम इन योर ब्लड. देखो आपके बॉडी में बोन का काम क्या है? व्हाट इज द फंक्शन ऑफ द बोन? द बोन्स फंक्शन इज टू एक्ट एज अ स्टोरेज ऑर्गन ऑफ कैल्शियम. अब सोचो ब्लड में कैल्शियम ज्यादा है. अगर ब्लड में कैल्शियम ज्यादा है वरुण, इफ द ब्लड कंटेन्स मोर ऑफ कैल्शियम, द कैल्शियम हैज कम फ्रॉम व्हिच ऑर्गन? फ्रॉम द बोन. तो बोन से वो निकल आया ना. सो बोन से अगर निकल आने को क्या कहते हैं? रिजॉर्प्शन. क्या कहते हैं? रिजॉर्प्शन. इन दैट टॉपिक यू वांट टू स्टडी, PTH का फंक्शन है हेल्पिंग इन रिजॉर्प्शन ऑफ कैल्शियम फ्रॉम द बोन. सो वो कहां पे आएगा? ब्लड में आएगा ना कैल्शियम. कहां पे आएगा? कैल्शियम ब्लड में आएगा. फॉर बाय द हेल्प ऑफ PTH, पैराथायराइड हार्मोन से कैल्शियम रिलीज हो रहा है फ्रॉम द बोन्स, एंड फ्रॉम द बोन्स कैल्शियम कम्स इनसाइड द ब्लड. And the calcium homeostasis of blood is 9 to 11 milligram per 100 milliliter of blood. कितना? 9 to 11 milligram per 100 ml of blood is the normal composition of content of the calcium. So ये calcium का normal level को लाने के लिए किसका फंक्शन बढ़ता है? Adrian, किसका फंक्शन बढ़ता है? PTH, parathyroid hormone, helps in taking up the calcium from the bones and help the blood contain that amount of 9 to 11 milligram of what? Calcium inside the blood. Now, अब देखो ये कैल्शियम ब्लड में इम्बैलेंस हो गया, देखो इम्बैलेंस हो गया। राइजिंग ब्लड कैल्शियम लेवल, कैल्शियम लेवल बढ़ गया बॉडी में, तो थायराइड ग्लैंड से क्या रिलीज होगा? कैल्सिटोनिन। व्हाट इज द हार्मोन? कैल्सिटोनिन। कैल्सिटोनिन थायराइड ग्लैंड से हार्मोन रिलीज होता है, एंड द कैल्शियम स्टिमुलेट्स कैल्शियम सॉल्ट डिपॉजिट इन ब्लड इनसाइड बोन। सो बोन में जो कैल्शियम बढ़ गया, उससे लेकर उस ब्लड में जो कैल्शियम बढ़ गया, उससे लेकर the calcium from the blood is being converted inside the bone, deposited inside the bone, and that is done by calcitonin hormone. That is done by calcitonin hormone. Any issues with this? Come on, any issues? चलो, and this is going to again, so देखो bone में again it is going to come down to its normal level. अब blood calcium level fall हो गया, blood calcium level fall हो गया. Ayushi, tell me, when the blood calcium level is going to decrease, कब होगा ये? जब बोन में ज्यादा जाएगा, सो ब्लड से कम हो गया। सो जब ब्लड से कम हो गया, फिर से कौन काम करना स्टार्ट कर देगा? पीटीएच। बोलो, सो हाउ मेनी हार्मोन इज गोइंग टू मेंटेन द कैल्शियम लेवल ऑफ योर ब्लड? एक है थायराइड ग्लैंड बाय द हेल्प ऑफ कैल्सिटोनिन, और एक है पैराथायराइड ग्लैंड व्हिच इज कॉल्ड पीटीएच। ठीक है, पीटीएच क्या करेगा? कैल्शियम को निकालेगा फ्रॉम द बोन and help maintain 9 to 11 milligram of calcium inside the blood. अब ब्लड में कैल्शियम बढ़ गया, सो कौन काम करेगा थायराइड ग्लैंड से? कैल्सिटोनिन. कैल्सिटोनिन is going to trigger what? It's going to take up the blood and it will get and help in deposition of calcium inside the bone. This is how it's going to maintain. Any issues with this? देखो, we are studying about bones and we don't know how the bone cells gets formed and how simply हमारे NCERT में क्या है? We are going to classify skeletal system into axial skeletal system. कितने सारे bones हैं? 206 bones हैं. Fine, but if you don't know exactly how the blood level and calcium level is being maintained, और कौन से cells है, कौन से hormones है जो इसको maintain करता है, then it's going to be a real problem. Fine, let us get into the next part. अच्छा देखो, अगर ये body है, you can understand कुछ, there are some ये main axis है. This is the main axis of the human. This is the main axis of the human. Main axis में कौन-कौन आ रहे हैं? Main axis में कौन-कौन आ रहे हैं? It is the first one is head portion. The first one is head portion. Head आ गया. So the main axis is this, or this is the transverse axis 90 degree angle में. So जो longitudinal axis है, the longitudinal axis है. This is the longitudinal axis. This longitudinal axis को क्या कहते हैं? The bones present inside the longitudinal axis is called axial skeletal system. It's called axial skeletal system. बोलो समझ में आया क्या? How many bones are there in axial skeletal system? There are 80 bones inside axial skeletal system. And how many bones are there in this particular part 90 degree angle में? देखो ये legs 90 degree angle में है. Fine. ये hands 90 degree angle में है. This is collarbone 90 degree angle में है. So these are called as appendicular. These are called as appendicular skeletal system. And under appendicular skeletal system, how many bones are there? 126 bones are there. So क्या हो गया? Total 80 plus 126 makes what? 206 bones. Any issues with this? 206 bones are there. So 80 plus 126, 206 bones are there under total skeletal system. So we can classify skeletal system into two. One is called axial skeletal system, and the one is called appendicular, and the one is called appendicular skeletal system. Is this clear? Under axial there is 80 bones, under appendicular there are 126 bones. Okay, and we are going to study about this. अच्छा, under axial head हो गया number 1. Next क्या है? ribs. So we are going to study under thorax. And third क्या है? vertebral column. देखो ये vertebral column है. So third is vertebral column. So under this 3 80 bones are there. Under this 3 80 bones are there. Any issues with this? समझ में आया कि नहीं आया? And what about appendicular skeletal system? Appendicular में क्या आएगा बाबू? Appendicular में आ जाएगा यहाँ पे. This is a pectoral girdle. क्या है? Pectoral girdle and hands. यहाँ पे हो गया pelvic girdle and legs. ठीक है? We will study that. Okay. Let us get into this particular idea, and then we are going to come into the skull bones and all. ठीक है? Okay. Let us get into this. Okay. 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 So first is skeletal system. Skeletal system. How many bones are there under skeletal system? 206 bones are there. 206 bones are there. Okay. Now we can classify them into two. One is called axial skeletal system. Axial skeletal system. And the second one is called appendicular. Appendicular skeletal system. Appendicular skeletal system. Under axial skeletal system, how many bones I said? Main axis में कौन-कौन है? There are three portions. One is head. The second one is thorax. Tell me third one. Vertebral column. Vertebral column. So when we talk about appendicular skeletal system, there are two parts. Means the first one is girdle. The first one is girdle, and the second one is limbs. Fine. In total, how many bones are there? 126 bones are there. Now under girdle, how many bones are there? 6. Under limbs, 120 bones are there. 120 bones are there in total. So there are 206 bones. Let us talk about head. So 80 bones है यहाँ पे, 80 bones are there. Head में कितने सारे bones हैं? Head में कितने सारे bones हैं? Let's see that. Let us find out. Head में कितने सारे bones हैं? First, skull. How many bones are there in skull? 8 bones are there in skull. How many bones are there? 8 bones are there in skull. Now, next क्या है? Head में, head region में देखो. अच्छा, skull के बाद face. Facial bones कितने सारे हैं? 14 bones are there in face. 14 bones are there. Then third, ear. In one ear, there are 3 bones. Into 2 is equal to 6 bones. और ये ear bones आप जानते हो? Malleus. नाम बोलो. Malleus, incus, and stapes. Malleus, incus, and stapes. So stapes is the smallest bone. You already know that. Stapes is the smallest bone. So these 3 bones are present in one ear. So 2 ears contain 6 bones. Ayush, is this clear? And the fourth one is hyoid bone. Hyoid bone कितने सारे हैं? In our head only 1. So if you count it, 8 plus 14, 22, 28, and 1, 29. So in head, how many bones are there? 29 bones are there in head. Now, अभी जो फिगर दिखाया जा रहा था आपको वो था स्कल के बारे में. So स्कल के बारे में, if you don't know exactly, पहले आपको बोल देते हैं स्कल में कितने सारे बोन्स हैं? 8 bones हैं. And we will talk about each one of them. 8 bones are there. What are the names of these 8 bones? The first bone, जिससे आप अगर फुटबॉल खेलते हो तो हेड मारते हो यहाँ से फ्रंटल से. Fine, this bone is the frontal bone. This is the frontal bone. Frontal. And then there is a temporal one. Temporal, 2 है. So frontal 1 है. Only 1 bone. Temporal is 2 bones. Then there is parietal bone. Parietal. How many bones are there in parietal? 2 bones are there in parietal. And then there is occipital. Then there is occipital bone. How many bones are there? Occipital 1. Occipital is there at the back. Occipital bone, done. And then we have got 2 other bones which are called ethmoid and sphenoid. Ethmoid and sphenoid. Ethmoid 1, sphenoid 1. Clear? Over here, sphenoid is a very, very important one. Why? Because when we are going to study about chemical integration, that is endocrine system, we will talk about the location where P-3 gland is present is in the sphenoid bone. In the sphenoid bone, there is a depression which is called sella turcica. Inside the sella turcica, the P-3 gland is present over there. Fine. So there is a bony depression called sella turcica. Inside which bone? Sphenoid. The P-3 gland is present. Okay. So these are the 8 bones present. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in total, there are 8 bones in skull. Just like that, we can make out the 14 bones in the face. We can make out the 14 bones inside face. Inside face, how many bones are there? 14 bones. Number 1, nasal concha. Nasal bones. Nasal bones. How many of them? 2 bones are there, nasal bones. And then inferior nasal concha or nasal concha. Nasal concha. 2 bones are there in nasal concha or nasal conchi. 2 bones. Then we have got zygomatic bone. Zygomatic bone, which is called as beauty bone. These 2 bones are zygomatic bone. These 2 bones are zygomatic bone. 2 of them. Then we have got maxilla. 2 of the maxilla. We have got maxilla is the upper jaw portion. Upper jaw portion. This is maxilla. Fine. This is mandible. Lower jaw is mandible. So maxilla 2, mandible 1, mandible 1. Then there is a palatine, upper palatine, upper palatine bone, 2 of them. Palatine bone, 2 of them. Then there is a lacrimal bone, 2 of them. Lacrimal bone, lacrimal bone, 2 of them. Lacrimal bone, 2 of them. Fine. And vomer 1, 8. Vomer. Vomer is 1. Vomer is 1. Count karo thoda sa. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14. So 14 bones are there in face. 14 bones are there in face. Clear? ठीक है? तो एक ऐसा रीजन बोलो बॉडी में जहां सबसे ज्यादा बोन रहता है, वो कौन सा है? फेस, इन द हेड, फेस. सो फेशियल बोन 14 बोन्स आर देयर. 14 बोन्स आर देयर. सो हो गया. सो यहां पे 14 बोन्स हो गया. ईयर में 3 बोन्स एंड हार्ड 1. सो इन टोटल हेड में कितने सारे बोन्स है? 29 बोन्स आर देयर. Next comes thorax. The second one comes thorax. Very very important. You can get one question from here. Thorax में दो तरह के bones हैं. One is ribs and the one is sternum. Sternum. What is sternum? Sternum is also called as breastbone. It is also called as breastbone. Okay. It's only one of them. Sternum एक ही है. Sternum is only one. And ribs. In ribs, we can classify ribs into 3 parts. One is true ribs. True ribs. The second one is false ribs. False ribs. And the third one is floating ribs. Floating ribs. Floating ribs. Okay. Now the first one is true ribs. How many pairs are there in true ribs? 7 pairs. 7 pairs. False ribs, 3 pairs. And floating ribs, 2 pairs. So 7 plus 3 plus 2. How many pairs? 12 pairs of ribs, which is equal to 24 plus 1. So in thorax, how many bones are there? 25 bones are there. 25 bones are there. Now, very very important. Sternum, आपको अभी दिखाएंगे. Sternum is like this. Inside sternum, there is one particular process which is called as xiphy sternum. Xiphy sternum, or there is a process called as xiphoid process. क्या नाम है? Xiphoid process. Figure में दिखाएंगे आपको. I'm going to show you in that figure. Is this clear? Yes, sternum में there is a particular structure present over at the tip of the sternum called xiphy sternum. It is a part of the bone only. और उसमें एक process है जहाँ पर क्या कहते हैं उसको? Xiphoid process. What is that called? Xiphoid process. Any issues? यहाँ तक clear है? सर ट्रू रिब्स उसे कहते हैं. व्हाट आर ट्रू रिब्स? ये रिब्स है. और रिब कहां से निकलते हैं? फ्रॉम द वर्टिबल कॉलम. फ्रॉम द वर्टिबल कॉलम. T1 से T12 तक वर्टिबल कॉलम है. सो वर्टिबल कॉलम से निकला. और ये सामने कौन है? व्हाट इज देयर? सामने कौन है? सामने है xiphy sternum, या सॉरी sternum. दिस इज sternum बोन. सो अगर रिब्स आकर डायरेक्टली ज्वाइन करते हैं विद द sternum, वी कॉल इट ट्रू रिब्स. वी कॉल इट ट्रू रिब्स. सो इट मेक्स अ सेमी सर्कल. बीच में कौन है? लंग्स है. बीच में कौन है? So function of ribs, tell me, what is the function of ribs? Protection. Protection of internal organs. So वो lungs को प्रोटेक्ट करते हैं, हार्ट को प्रोटेक्ट करते हैं. Clear? Now, यहाँ पे 7 pairs हैं जो डायरेक्टली कनेक्ट करते हैं with the sternum. Now 3 of them they start from the vertebral column but never directly joins with the sternum. वो पहले किसके साथ ज्वाइन करते हैं? They join with the cartilage. They join with the cartilage. देखो cartilage जाकर यहाँ पे ज्वाइन करते हैं. So these are 3 pairs. And floating ribs start तो करते हैं from T11 and T12. T11 and T12. But they never meet. They never meet the sternum. तो वो क्या होगा? Floating ribs. और floating ribs का फंक्शन क्या है? अगर ये rib है, floating rib is going to protect. Floating rib is going to protect. Name me. Is going to protect the kidney. The kidney. वो साइड में रहता है. सामने नहीं रहता है किडनी. साइड में रहता है. क्लियर? ओके. ये था रिब्स के बारे में. सो दैट वाज अबाउट thorax. Next is what? The third one is about vertebral column. The third one is about vertebral column. Vertebral column. Vertebral column. So when we talk about vertebral column, the formula is C7, T12, L5, S1 under bracket 5, coccyx 1 under bracket 4. What is the meaning of under bracket? So cervical, the first one is cervical bone. How many of them are cervical? 7 of them are cervical bones. Then thoracic, 12 of them are thoracic. L for lumbar, 5 of them. S for sacral, only 1, 5 of them they fuse to become 1. And this is coccyx, 4 of them fuse to become 1 coccyx. So if you count 7 plus 12, 19, 20, 21 and 5, 26. So in vertical column how many bones are there? 26. So head में कितना था? Head में 29. How many bones are there in the head? 29 bones. Then thorax 25. अब क्या हो गया? Vertical column 26. Count करो, 80 हो गया. These 3 are there in the axial skeletal system. So the bones which are present in the main axis, how many bones are there? 80 bones are there. Got the point? So head में कितना? Skull में. Let's start from skull. 8, face 14, ear 6, 3, 6, and 1 hyoid bone which holds the tongue, which holds the movement of the tongue, which controls the movement of the tongue. So total 29 bones are there. In thorax, 12 pairs of ribs on 1 sternum. Talk about vertical column, C7, T12, L5, S1, under bracket 5, coccyx 1, under bracket 4. Makes 26 bones. So that is all about axial skeletal system. That is all about axial skeletal system. Let us start with the appendicular. Appendicular skeletal system. So when we talk about appendicular, how many bones are there? I told you 21, 26. The first one is girdle. क्या है पहला? Girdle. Girdle में how many bones are there? 6. Under limbs कितना होगा? 120 bones हो गए. 120 bones हो गए under limbs. So when we talk about girdle, there are 2 types of girdle. One is what? Pectoral girdle. पहला क्या है? Pectoral girdle. Pectoral girdle. And the one is pelvic girdle. Pelvic girdle. Pectoral girdle and pelvic girdle. Under pectoral girdle, how many bones are there? Under pectoral girdle, let me tell you. Under pectoral girdle, क्या होगा देखो? Under pectoral girdle, the first one is clavicle. क्या नाम है? Clavicle or collarbone. Or collarbone. Collarbone. Clavicle or collarbone. दो hands के लिए 2 bone होगा collarbone. And then there is scapula. Scapula. How many bones are there? एक hand के लिए एक scapula. This is a triangular shaped bone at the back. So 2 of them, 2 of the scapula, 2 of the clavicle makes 4 pectoral girdle. 4 pectoral girdle. Just wait. Let me show you this girdle. Let me show you this girdle. अच्छा चलो जल्दी से यहां पे फेशियल बोन एंड स्कल बोन बोथ है बोथ ऑफ देम आर आई टोल्ड यू nasal bones how many bones 2 फेशियल बोन्स है zygomatic bone ये रहा zygomatic bone कितने सारे 2 इधर एक उस तरफ एक maxilla कितने सारे 2 देन mandible कितने सारे 1 देन palatine देखो कहां पे palatine bone अच्छा lacrimal bone 2 ओके आई डोंट थिंक सब बोन्स यहाँ पे है मैंडिबुलर कॉन्डाइल नहीं है चलो क्या है पैराडाइन बोन कहाँ पे टॉप में पैराडाइन बोन कहाँ पे नहीं दैट इज पैराडाइल बोन नॉट पैराडाइन बोन पैराडाइन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट फेशियल बोन्स तो 2 4 to 8 plus 1 9 बोन मिला यहाँ पे यहाँ पे फेशियल बोन में दे हैव नॉट गिवन अ थॉट यहाँ पे देखो स्कल बोन में देखो दिस इज ऑक्सीपिटल बोन these are 2 temporal bone this is parietal bone this is brown one parietal bone and this is the frontal bone frontal हो गया where is see if they have shown you this sphenoid and ethmoid I don't think so यहाँ पे नहीं है let me see in the other figure this is sphenoid bone greater wing ये रहा sphenoid bone ये sphenoid bone के यहाँ पे रहता है there is a depression inside the sphenoid bone where the P-3 gland lies so what is the location of P-3 gland what is the name of the depression सेला टार्सिका. What is the name of the depression? सेला टार्सिका. And this is the ethmoid bone. देखो यहाँ पे है perpendicular plate, ethmoid bone. That makes the 8 bones. That makes the 8 bones of the skull. Okay. अच्छा ये देखो वोमर. वोमर एक साइड में रहते हैं, एक ही बोन है वोमर. In the facial bone, वोमर is only one. ठीक है. ओके चलो ये देखो, ये कौन सा व्यू है? नीचे से ऊपर. ठीक है, टॉप व्यू. और ये देखो लोअर जॉ निकाल दिया गया है, अपर जॉ को नीचे से देख रहे हो आप. नाउ दिस इज मैक्सिला. देखो क्या पोजीशन है. देखो 2 मैक्सिला आई टॉक्ड अबाउट ना. ये देखो ये मैक्सिला बोन है. दिस इज द वन मैक्सिला बोन. दिस इज अनदर मैक्सिला बोन. ऊपर 2 मैक्सिला. ओके. अब पैलाटाइन देखो यहाँ पे. पैलाटाइन ये पैटर्न होगा. ये दिस पैलाटाइन. हाँ, आप टांग को लेकर टच करो सामने. हाँ, पीछे की तरफ सॉफ्ट पैलेट है ना, उसके ऊपर है पैटर्न. उसके ऊपर है पैटर्न बोन. एंड देन दिस ज़ैगमेटिक बोन. इधर से नीचे से देखते हो दोनों तरफ से. दिस कॉल्ड ब्यूटी बोन. दिस कॉल्ड ब्यूटी बोन. ये रहा मैक्सिला हो गया. दिस इज मैक्सिला. दिस इज स्फेनॉइड बोन. Only one sphenoid bone. Fine. What is this foramen? Tell me.
The opening of the throat.
Throat? No. The spinal cord comes out from this. This is occipital bone. ये occipital bone है. This is occipital bone. ये throat कहाँ से आ गया? ये occipital bone से यहाँ से क्या निकलेगा? Spinal cord. Okay, ये रहा. ये जो बोन है ना, इस बोन में ये जो पोर है, दिस कॉल्ड फोरामेन मैग्नम. क्या है? फोरामेन. दिस कॉल्ड फोरामेन मैग्नम मैग्निफाइड. सबसे बड़ा पोर बॉडी में, फोरामेन मैग्नम. नॉट रिक्वायर्ड राइट नाउ, बट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस. सी, ये देखो, ये है वर्टिकल कॉलम. ये वर्टिकल कॉलम है आपके सामने. देखो, दिस इज सर्वाइकल. This is cervical bone. 7 C1 से C7. हाँ, C1 से ये C1 है, ये C2, C3, C4, C7 हो गया. C7. Then T1 से लेकर T12. T1 से लेकर from here T1 so to T12 thoracic. Fine. Then lumbar L1, L2, L3, L4, L5. Lumbar L5. This is C7. Okay. T12. L5. What is this? Sacral. Fused to become 1. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 fused to become 1. Called sacral. 1. Bracket में 5. Why? 5 था, fuse होकर 1 बना. ये coccyx अभी 4 दिख रहा है आपको. ये 4 था, पर fuse होकर क्या बना? 1 बना. That is vertical column. This is the vertical column formula. Okay. चलो. क्या ये? Sacral. Can you see the pore? इस पोर से क्या निकलता है? अच्छा, एक देखो यार, वेरी गुड. cranial nerves या spinal nerves. पोर से क्या निकलेगा? spinal nerves. Now think about it. बाबा ये है उसका facet, ये sacral bone है. Now can you see some structures like this? मतलब ये एक्स्ट्रा क्या था? पूरा divided था, पूरा अलग था. अभी क्या हो गया? Now it has been fused. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them fused to become. This is sacral. 1 under bracket 1 under bracket 5. So 5 of them fused to become 1. This is coccyx. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now they have turned into 1. So coccyx 1 under bracket. Clear? Ribs देखो. In the ribs. देखो यहाँ पे ट्रू रिब्स है, यहां से लेकर यहां तक. ट्रू रिब्स 7 पेयर्स. ये है स्टर्नम, ब्रेस्ट बोन, स्टर्नम. कैन यू सी दिस प्रोसेस कॉल्ड ज़ाइफॉइड प्रोसेस? थोड़ा और भी बड़ा कर देते हैं आप लोग. हाँ, कैन यू सी दिस ज़ाइफॉइड प्रोसेस? दिस इज ज़ाइफॉइड प्रोसेस. कैन यू सी दिस द कार्टिलेजेस? ये हो गया क्या? फ्लोटिंग बोन, फ्लोटिंग रिब्स 2 है. क्लियर? ओके, चलो नेक्स्ट. ये हो गया क्लाविकल. दिस इज योर पेक्टोरल गर्डल. देखो ये रहा हाथ में ये मेन एक्सिस था ना. सी, दिस इज द मेन एक्सिस. एक्सियल स्केलेटल सिस्टम में ये मेन एक्सिस है. इसके 90 डिग्री एंगल में बोला था ना, all those organs which are come, all those bones which will come under this 90 degree to this axis, we call it appendicular skeletal system. And this is clavicle. ये कौन है? ये देखो कि clavicle है, ये रहा clavicle, ये clavicle है. Collar bone कहते हैं इसको. This is called collar bone. Yes, you can feel it. This is a collar bone. Clear? Collar bone. अब यहाँ पे देखो, can you see some process called in the collar bone? There is a process. अच्छा, ये collar bone हो गया, clavicle हो गया, and ये रहा पीछे की तरफ. This is a structure of ये पीछे there is a scapula. I think I'm going to show you out. ये रहा scapula. This is scapula. ये रहा scapula. Fine. So एक बोन के लिए एक clavicle, एक scapula, और एक बोन के लिए उस तरफ और दो. Clear? So 2 + 2 makes 4 of the pectoral girdle. अब देखो, स्कैपुला में there is a process which is called acromion process. इसको थोड़ा याद रखना पड़ेगा, ठीक है? स्कैपुला में there is a process called acromion process. यहां पे रहता है. This is acromion process, very very important. बोलो, आयुषी, tell me, क्या process के बारे में अब तक हमने बात कर लिया? We already talked about 2 processes. One is xiphoid process and one is acromion process. Xiphoid process and acromion process. Now what is called process? आपका ये बिल्डिंग किसके ऊपर खड़ा है? आपका ये बिल्डिंग किसके ऊपर खड़ा है? Tell me what? I think you know this. What is this? Rod, है ना? टाटा डिस्कॉन. अच्छा, ये रॉड है, ये आपका बोन है. ये बिल्डिंग खड़ा है किसके ऊपर? रॉड के ऊपर. अच्छा, सिर्फ रॉड के ऊपर? रॉड के ऊपर ये सब क्या है? What is the structures? ये देखा प्रोजेक्शन, they are projected out. तो वहां पे जाकर ये सीमेंट और सैंड जाकर फिक्स हो जाते हैं. So what is the cement and sand for you? The muscles. What is the cement and sand for you? The muscles. Okay. What is the cement and sand for you? यहां पे क्या होगा? ये बाइसेप्स बनाया आपने, ये आपका ह्यूमरस बोन है. ये बाइसेप्स मसल्स कहां पे खड़ा होगा? On the ribs, on this particular. तो क्या कहते हैं? रिबर. क्या कहते हैं इसको? रिबर कहते हैं. सो बोन में ओके. सोचो ऐसा, इतना मसल बना लिया आपने बाइसेप्स जिम में जाकर, और वो बाइसेप्स स्लिप करके हाथ में आ गया. थिंक अबाउट इट. बाइसेप्स यहाँ पे नहीं है, यहाँ पे स्लिप करके आ गया. अरे बाइसेप्स यहाँ पे रहता कैसे है? डेफिनेटली इन दिस बोन, इन दिस ह्यूमरस बोन, देयर आर सम रिबर. उस रिबर के ऊपर दे गेट अटैच्ड. एंड व्हाट इज दैट रिबर कॉल्ड? प्रोसेसेस. सो बोन में क्या है? प्रोसेसेस हैं. थिंक अबाउट, अगर बोन वुड हैव बीन कंप्लीटली स्मूथ, तो यहां पे बाइसेप्स हाथ में आ गया. बोलो, समझ में आया? होगा ऐसा? टॉम एंड जेरी में देखा ना, टॉम बॉडी बनाता है, इधर से लेकर इधर लेके आता है बाइसेप्स, ऐसे करके जंप करके बाइसेप्स इधर आ जाता है. सो दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ये होगा तब जब प्रोसेस आर एब्सेंट. सो टिल नाउ वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट 3 प्रोसेस और 2 प्रोसेस. Xiphoid प्रोसेस Xiphi sternum में है, देन sternum में है, देन acromion प्रोसेस इन द स्कैपुला. कैसे याद रखोगे? SAC, सैक. क्यों? और एक प्रोसेस, उसका नाम क्या है? कोराकॉइड प्रोसेस. कोराकॉइड प्रोसेस, सैक. एस फॉर स्कैपुला, acromion, कोराकॉइड. याद रखना पड़ेगा. क्लियर? ओके, देन दिस इज द कैविटी. इस कैविटी में कौन रहता है? बोलो, इस कैविटी में कौन रहेगा? ये है रिदम का हेड ऑफ ह्यूमरस. हेड ऑफ ह्यूमरस. दे प्रेजेंट इन अ कैविटी. द कैविटी इज कॉल्ड ग्रीनॉइड कैविटी. क्या है? String, huh? This is what is same person. Till the time I'm holding it. करते रहो. थोड़ा सा भी, I think this, थोड़ा सा भी अगर ये बेसिक आइडिया ना, गुस्सा आता है जब नहीं पढ़ते एक बार में, तो करते रहो. सब स्कैपुला फोसा नॉट रिक्वायर्ड फॉर यू. समझ में आ रहा है? ये सब पढ़ोगे आप व्हेन यू बिकम डॉक्टर्स. कैसा लग रहा है? नो सर, इतने सारी इंफॉर्मेशंस याद नहीं रखना है, ठीक है? ओके, कोराकॉइड प्रोसेस. ये देखो साइड व्यू, कोराकॉइड प्रोसेस और ये एक्रोमियन प्रोसेस. ये हड्डी को और एक एंगल से देख रहे हो आप. क्लियर? ये क्या है? स्कैपुला. व्हाट इज दिस? स्कैपुला. ये कौन सा है? पीठ में रहता है. देखा ना ट्रायंगुलर बोन? तो मुझे तो तपस्या करना पड़ेगा उसको दिखाने के लिए आपको, है ना? यस, 40 kg जिसका होगा वो दिखा पाएगा. यस, हाँ, स्कैपुला. गुड. ओके, देखो स्कैपुला दिख रही है. So we can see scapula in front of us. Yes, very good. So we have got biological specimen over here. Now, अच्छा थोड़ा देख लो इसको. Okay, done. Okay. So you want to come over here and show your scapula? Okay, no issues. Clavicle, Babu. देखो जब. Now, clavicle. This is clavicle. This is scapula. Ayushi, tell me, where is acromion process over here? Show me acromion process. Which one? This is coracoid process. This is acromion process. Clear? Okay. Now this is the head of the humerus. ये bone का नाम क्या है? Humerus bone of your hand. Humerus. दो क्यों दिखाया है? एक ही तो दिखाया, उधर भी है. And this is radius and ulna. Radius and ulna. Radius किस तरफ है? Tell me which part is radius? Thumb जहाँ पे है. You can see over here. This is the bone. Feel the bone. Thumb की तरफ. This is radius. Feel the opposite side. This one. Ulna. This is radius. This is ulna. Clear? Okay. And both of them are present over here, and both of them are fixed at one point. And that is why it is also an example of fixed joint. This is also an example of whenever you do something positive, these are the moment I'm going to keep this class off, I'm not going to have any calls. मतलब क्या है? Whenever you try to do something big, something good, all this negative energy try to what? Confuse you. समझ में आया क्या? Practical देख रहे हो? Good. Humerus 2 and ulna. How many of them? 2. Radius 2. ये आ गया आपका. This is what is carpal. This is carpal. So how many carpal bones are there? 8 bones are there in carpal. 8 bones are there in carpal. And then there is a metacarpal. Then there is a phalanges. We will talk about that. Fine. And we will talk about that. So हो गया scapula देख लिया ना?
How much gap is there between radius and ulna?
Radius and ulna. How much gap? Are you talking about this gap?
Yes, sir.
Very minimal. You want me to specify? You cannot specify it. The hand of Khali and the hand of me is going to be different gaps. You cannot specify that. Yeah, it's going to be changing. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
is there something present between the bones?
Muscles. Why the gaps are present? To have a toughness. You cannot have any void place in your body. So muscles are present over there. Then there are between 2 bones. Bone to bone are connected by what? Ligament. Though there is no ligament over there. Ligament are present where? Between 2 bones in the presence of joints. Ligaments are present. Ligaments connect bones to bones. BLB. Bone to bone is connected by ligament. So if you can see that gap, what is present over there inside the gap? Muscles are invaded. To have a huge. So for males, I think this one is the one. See? So if this is radius, this is ulna. So when I'm going to make like this, the muscles are present over here.
Sir,
And you can see that.
like the chicken bone that we
Same. Chicken wing, same. There is a gap between chicken wing. And what you can see, what you do with the chicken wing? You hold that 2 bones, take that meat from inside. So what is there? Muscles are present over there. Got the point? Good. Acha, let's come back to. So you have seen what is scapula. You have seen what is called clavicle. Now come down to pelvic girdle. When you talk about pelvic girdle, what is the time?
720.
Okay. When we talk about pelvic girdle, in pelvic girdle, see, this is pelvic girdle. In this pelvic girdle, what you can see? This is the head of the femur. Head of the femur. What is this? Ilium. What is this? Ischium. And this one is pubis. Ilium, ischium, pubis makes one bone. Ilium, ischium, pubis makes one bone for one leg. For another bone, for other leg, ilium, ischium, pubis. So how many bones are there in pelvic girdle? 2 bones are there. 2 bones are there in pelvic girdle. So 2 plus 4, how many bones are there in girdle? 6 bones are there. Let us see that pelvic girdle. Pelvic, see, what is present? Interosseous membrane. Find there are muscles present. There are muscles present. Into radius and ulna. When talk about that, this is your pelvic girdle. Understand? This is pelvic girdle. This is ilium. This is ilium. What is this? This portion. See this portion. This portion. This portion is ischium. This portion is ischium. Ye wala portion. This is ischium. And ilium, ischium, and this is pubis. This is pubis. Clear? And you can see this is the vertebral column, head part of the vertebral column. This is what? Sacral bone. Ye dekho sacral bone hai. And this is coccyx. This is the pubic symphysis. Pubic symphysis. What is the example I talked about? Cartilaginous joint or fixed joint? Cartilaginous joint. Pubic symphysis. Okay. Clear? What is the cavity present? Acetabulum cavity. ये यहाँ पे rhythm का leg का head यहाँ पे है in the cavity, and this cavity is called acetabulum cavity. Hand में क्या था? Glenoid cavity. The head of the humerus. It articulates where? In glenoid cavity. There is a cavity. और cavity के अंदर there is a fluid. Tell me the name of the fluid. Synovial fluid. यहाँ पे भी रहेगा? Synovial fluid नहीं रहेगा? रहेगा. Clear? So the cavity is called acetabulum cavity in case of pelvic girdle. So this is pelvic girdle in front of you. Clear? Pelvic girdle. This is pelvic girdle. Let's come back. So, हो गया 6 bones हो गया under girdle. Come down to limbs. Under limbs, when we talk about limbs, limbs 2 तरह के होते हैं. एक है forelimb, एक है hind limb. Forelimb and hind limb. Forelimb and hind limb. Under forelimb, tell me how many bones are there? 60 bones are there. कैसे हो गया सर? ये हो गया humerus, ये हो गया radius, ये हो गया ulna, radius and ulna. यहाँ पे 8 bones and 8 bones are there called carpals. So ये क्या हो गया? Humerus. This is humerus. Only 1 bone. This is radius. 1. This is ulna. 1. These are carpals. Carpals, 8 of them. Then okay. Now see, after carpals, you can see the extension of the carpal called metacarpal for all the fingers. There are 5 metacarpals. These are 5 metacarpals. 5 metacarpals. And then we have 2 of the, in case of thumb, you see there are 2 phalanges. In case of thumb is also called as pollex. क्या कहते हैं इसको? Pollex. Greater toe is called hallux. क्या कहते हैं? Hallux. So this is called pollex. How many phalanges? 2. और यहाँ से लेकर यहाँ तक क्या है? मेटाकार्पल, 5 of the metacarpal. पर इस उंगली में देखो 3 of them. So 3 4 are 12 plus 2 14 phalanges. So यहाँ पे 2 और बाद बाकी 3. So in total how many of them? Phalanges कितने सारे? 14. So 14 plus 5 19 20 21 22 plus 8 30 bones in one hand into 2 60. Clear? In case of hand, this is it. In case of leg, this is femur, the longest bone. What is it? Femur, the longest bone. This is tibia and fibula. What is it? Tibia 1 and this is fibula 1. And then And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 bones are there called tarsals. 7 bones are there called tarsals. 7 bone. And then there is metatarsal. Metatarsal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them are metatarsals. Metatarsals. 5 of them. Hallux में 2 और बाद बाकी 3. So how many? 14. 14 phalanges. Phalanges 14. बोलो समझ में आया? 14. So count it. एक रह गया यहाँ पे. ये क्या है? Patella. What is this? Patella. 1. You count it 30 into 2. 60 bones are there in hind limb. So 60 bones in hind limb and 16 forelimb makes 120 bones in the whole limbs. That makes 126 bones in the appendicular skeletal system. Together, it makes 126 plus 80, 206 bones are there in skeletal system. Next day, we have to again wrap up some of these particular things. And then, we are getting into the last part of this bone called joints and the bone disorders. Joints and bone disorders. Fine? Chalo, dekhte hain exit. That's all for today. Chalo.
Thank you, sir.
Wait, all of you.